some of the documents which were shown in Parliament yesterday about Kutesa and maybe Onek are forgeries. This one I had forgotten to tell you. They are forgeries. Why? Because I was the first to receive these documents last year. It must have been August or September. Now immediately, no, first of all, I tried to use private investigators, but they couldn't go far. I decided to, then I decided to bring in the Inspector General of Police. And I told him to get in touch with the police in London and in Malta and in Dubai. And they got in touch with all these police forces. They have concluded their investigations in London and their investigations in Malta. These documents are forgeries.
Welcome back, viewers. You're watching On The Sport. Now, our poll question for this evening is, do you believe the bribery claims labelled against 3 government ministers and the authenticity of the documents tabled in Parliament? SMS your yes or no answer to 8778. We'll give you the results towards the end of the show. Honourable Karuhanga, a quick reaction to the President. Questions are being raised as a President. He had time to actually set up private investigation and then asked the IGP to look into this, whether it was Dubai, Malta, or Germany, Zurich, but nothing.
I heard the President in the clip that he referred to a statement maybe. The unfortunate bit is that he only referred to it in relation to Hilary Onek. But one thing I want to say is that our President has on several occasions come out to make statements. Sometimes he changes them. Sometimes the facts later change them, even without actually him retracting his own words. You know, there are two things. If the police indeed was, for me, in my view, it was, if it was very well facilitated, if we had a very competent police that is well facilitated, well structured, without state influence, that would certainly have some reason to believe what he's saying. That's one. Two, why would the President come out so quickly the following day? The moment we had this debate, he had never addressed this country on oil. Never. It was not until we moved this motion, we put pressure, and he comes out. He has never addressed even his NRM MPs, his caucus. So, for me, I want to encourage President Museveni to desist from interfering with the legislature's work. Let Parliament do its work. It doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt. And once, and I'm certain, it's not going to be long. 3 months is not a very long period. You are going to see lots of information coming out. Since we started talking about this, so many things have been said in the corridors of Parliament. But like we've said now, let's take them to a committee, investigate and say, okay, let's verify every bit of information we get. I can tell you, right now, the Honorable Amama Bawaz and the Honorable Sam Kutesa and Hilary Onek, I'm very sure that they feel their reputation has been dented. They feel so aggrieved. But they would come out very strong men if at the end of this investigation, they were found to be clean. But I cannot commit on that one because I certainly foresee us get some information. I'm already seeing some signals of getting some very good information that this country will be very surprised.
The fact that you say obviously there will be sources coming in, aggrieved parties and obviously aggrieved companies.
Yes.
Let's discuss some of these documents of yours. You say some of these were statements, bank statements.
Yes.
From some of the banks involved. But again, you said yourself the banks could not stamp some of these documents?
Well, I did not say they could not stamp some of
In
these
Parliament,
documents.
you said some of them said, yes, we will give you these statements.
Yes.
Unfortunately, we will not authenticate these documents for you or put our stamp to these documents.
Let me explain this.
Yes.
What I did is that we landed on this information. As a matter of fact, of course, there is no bank stamp on them. They are, if anything, they are photocopies. And we looked at them very closely. We're a team of MPs. Said, okay, do these documents seem authentic? We said, yes, they seem to be. What was the source of these documents? Do we believe it? Yes. Can we reveal it now? No. Why? Because we think we can get more information from the people who availed this information. 2, because we know they are also protected by the Whistleblowers Protection Act. So we said, okay, let's whatever it takes. And look, honestly, I think we did a service to this country. I don't think it would have been helpful to Uganda if we just got this information and we actually chose to sit on it. What I think is we are going to see lots of issues come out. And let's wait and see. I have a feeling that indeed, and I believe that indeed, we shall get to the people who really took money.
There was a particular document you tabled in Parliament.
Yes.
The letter between the CEO at Talo,
Yes.
Authorizing a bank to transfer funds to Danny Glover. Danny Glover was CEO here in Kampala,
Yes,
Talo
that's
Oil
true.
Kampala. And that you then saw where the transfer was made from that account in which had been, the Talo had given Danny Glover powers of attorney to actually recover money over 500,000 US dollars.
Yeah, euros.
Then to actually pass on this money. And you say obviously the money was channeled somewhere else. But just before you come to that, we have a caller on 9.
Okay.
Jetty.
I've reduced.
Yes,
Yes.
Jetty?
How are you, Morris and Karuhanga?
We are fine. Can you speak up, please? We can't hear you.
Yes, I am thanking Honorable Karuhanga for being brave for what he was appointed to do. For me as a Catholic, if you tell me to do the sign of a cross and you tell me to repeat it, I repeat it without any fear. Why is it that the government, the way I saw Honorable Kutesa saying that there is no need to investigate for the second time? If they know that they are very keen, why are they fearing the second commission of inquiry? That one justifies to all Ugandans that these people are pure thieves. There is no doubt about that.
Thank
you, Karuhanga. Keep that for Ugandans.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Jetty. So, Honorable, you will get to this because I know want to get to this. But that communication, do you then have evidence that the money actually Glover was allowed to pass on did actually reach the ministers implicated?
Yes, I think you only looked at that one. There is indeed a transfer, another document that shows money leaving Mr. Glover's account to the Honorable Sam Kutesas, the same 500,000 euros. So we see this. Now let me tell you something, Maurice. If you followed our debate on Monday and Tuesday, the implicated persons, in no unequivocal terms, did they come out to say that we don't have these accounts? If you listen to them.
Other than Hillary Onek, I think at some point Hillary said that account was not his account.
Yes, actually, yes, you are right. Other than Hillary Onek,
yes,
these particular the two, I didn't hear at least the Honorable Sam Kutesa say I have no connection whatsoever to the East African Development
and that particular account.
And that particular account, he never said it. That I would have expected him to quickly deny.
Okay, let's just play this because this was ping pong between you and Kutesa in Parliament. Let's just play this.
There he's talking about 17 million euro. There's another forged document talking about 500,000 in cash here. I have these documents, they've been circulating for the last.
The honorable member has come here and told us that there is more information. He has more documents alleging that he got money, which he cannot put on table.
For Honorable Karuhanga to make defamatory statements that are false.
By the way, I stand to challenge the honorable that I can make the same statements outside this house. The security minister then, the honorable Amama Mbabazi, and Energy and Mineral Development Minister Hilary Onek, as Ugandan officials who benefited from the sale of the production rights by Heritage Oil and Gas to Eni. It could be time to consider tough action, to include visa revocation for senior officials like Mbabazi, who are consistently linked to corruption scandals.
Welcome back, viewers. Now, that's what happened on Parliament. That is actually, I think, Monday.
Yes.
Questions are being asked. Why you? Because you say as a committee of members of Parliament, a small committee sat through, looked at this document. Why you, Karuhanga, a very young man, you have a whole future ahead of you, extremely bright future ahead of you. Why you to make these allegations in Parliament and table these documents? And is it one, that you are from Western Uganda, and the people talked about, the majority of them were members of Parliament and ministers from Western Uganda? Or is it two, that, well, you as a young man had nothing to lose?
One, what we also need to recall properly is that we had lots of information. We agreed among the four of us, the Honorable Sechkuo, and Honorable Nwagaba, Honorable Katuntu, and myself. We sat down and said, okay, let's share this information. This one presents this one presents this one presents this. So when we came to these documents, they said, Karuhanga, you can present this. I went through them, page by page, discussed them, and we agreed that I presented. That's one. Two, it should also be actually brought to public domain that indeed these documents were not only privy to myself, that actually before we entered the house, at least the members who are seated next to me already had copies of these documents.
Some MPs were totally taken aback. We have video reactions, visual reactions of some members of Parliament. For example, Beatrice Anyoa, some of the times you mentioned these figures, she almost cried. She almost teared, because for her, she had not heard about figures like this before and had never seen these facts.
True.
So there must have been also a number of people who never had information.
True. Now, that's true. Of course, not the entire Parliament, they did have these documents. But why myself? For a long time, I have resolved and consistently stood by my resolution to do everything possible to expose every person I get to know who steals public funds. I have keenly seen how most of our youth really suffer with lots of unemployment, how our citizens, our own fellow Ugandans out there, if somebody can't even afford a dose of malaria.
Honorable, I will allow you to continue with that shortly. We have a caller, Mitala from Mengo. Your question or comment, please?
Yeah, thank you so much. First, I'd like to compliment Honorable Karuhanga for that courage. Indeed, when you look at what is happening in Uganda today, we need the MPs of the caliber of Karuhanga. Karuhanga is coming up to cleanse the NRM. It's good that he's not from the opposition, but from the ruling NRM. When you look at the trend of events now, we need more of cleansing rather than implicating. So the coming up to implicate people of the seniority nature in NRM is like cleansing, purifying what the president has been looking for. Even the president is aware of that cleansing nature, which is coming up from the likes of Karuhanga. But he has been looking for an opportunity. From the critical assessment, the research we've conducted is very happy with such a setting. So we are looking forward to having a better NRM with younger blood who are coming up to bring up purity in the system, and then we shall look at the future of NRM.
Thank you very much.
As a result of that, we shall have no progress in the development of this nation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mitala. Well, Honorable,
yes.
You need to correct this. Actually, the Honorable Member of Parliament is not a member of the ruling party,
yes.
but a member of the you're an independent in
Yes,
Parliament.
I'm very independent. I've
But a
never
member of
been
the
a member
opposition.
of the NRM party, and well, I don't think I'll join NRM anytime soon. One thing I also want to say is that I really appreciate the NRM members. They have a very huge majority in the House, and probably if they wanted to fail this debate, they would have quickly failed it. But at this time, we see unity in objectivity. That people believe that the national interests are far much more important than partisan interests. And they don't only just believe, but they go ahead to practice it. So I thank the members who have been actively involved, and we are seeing it. The other person that I really appreciate, and this country should be so proud of, is the Right Honorable Speaker, Kadaga. She is so strong and very clear that when the debate is on the floor, she lets people speak and air out their views. She does not in any way try to influence the debate. Now, for me, I think that she's very, very honorable, and I really respect her. And Ugandans should be proud that we have such a speaker. Now, back to what we're talking about. There is one thing that this report that President Museveni is talking about, that indeed there was a report. I carried out this investigation. One, where is this report? How come this is the very first time we're hearing about this report? And if indeed the report is good and it is there anyway, bring it to public domain. Let's see what is in that report. Probably it could be a very good document for our investigations. Maybe it would save a lot of time. And then the other thing is, there are individuals that have been mentioned that probably said this. I heard the Honorable Sam Kutesa mention Andrew Mwenda's name. How come he didn't sue him and say, oh, you man, you actually, you are denting my image and I am going to sue you in defamation? He didn't do that. So there are some, indeed, skeletons we are beginning to smell that must be lying in the cupboard, and we must pick them, we must expose them.
Honorable, the president speaking yesterday, even when asked about Bukenya and why Bukenya seemed to be one individual among the many being prosecuted in court and even taken to Luzira,
Yes.
he did say there are people within the system, within the government, using the system, a proper way of using the system, fighting others.
Yes.
But now there are those also in the corridors of power saying, you as Karuhanga, coming from the fact that you come from the West in Western Uganda, are being used by one. The first issue was one, politicians from whether Western or any other place fighting their own battles to front you to fight Kutesa and Mama Mbabazi, and two, that the aggrieved companies, we have aggrieved companies like Eni and others that have failed to get contracts within this government and would have wanted to, but can't. So they have those information and have then passed it on to you to fight for them their battles.
Exactly. And that's what we want that's what we want to see come out in this inquiry. I want any person.
But I hope it's not a
including
fight
President
against
Museveni,
these politicians, but a fight to cleanse government.
a fight to cleanse government. We are fighting to cleanse this government, and we shall not stop at anything. Whether it involves President Museveni or any other person, we shall proceed to go for them and cleanse this government. Now, I want any person, and this is a very good opportunity, when a committee of parliament is investigating, is so open to any kind of information. I want President Museveni take this opportunity, and really if he's watching and or listening, I want to encourage him, or his people who are listening, really, you deliver this information to him, that Karuhanga has challenged you to come to parliament and adduce evidence that members of parliament or politicians are using other politicians to dent the image of government, to dent their fellows, then their colleagues. I want him, let him bring evidence that I am being used. Let him, I'm challenging him on this. We have 3 months. I'm sure he can find time in the 3 months, considering his busy schedule. 90 days is such a long period. Let him find time and bring evidence, and then the country will get to know. Then two, there will always be diversionary talk and mechanisms whenever such debate is ongoing. And one thing I also want to remind everyone is that there is nobody who's going to divert our attention from what we are focusing on. The struggle we are in is to get rid of corruption in this country. It's going to take a lot of pain. We are going to step on people's toes, and whoever knows that he has anything that is unclean, this is the time actually to come out and say, I'm sorry I did this. Otherwise, we are not going to stop at this.
All right. We are going to take another very short break. But our poll question for tonight is, do you believe the bribery claims labeled against 3 government ministers and the authenticity of the documents tabled in Parliament? SMS your yes or no answer. That's through your phone. SMS yes or no answer to 8778. And we'll give you the poll results towards the end of this show. Don't go away.